One. Welcome back to the Philosophical Gamer channel. As always, I'm Robert, your host, narrator, and just annoying voice talking in your ear. So this is part 2 of our pilot episode, I guess we'll call it. Basically just explaining about the channel and what the goals and ambitions of it are. So if you haven't seen the first part, by all means, just go check that out and get you fully up to date. So basically today we're going to be covering topics like what kind of a posting schedule are we going to have for videos. Well, I thought about it, once a week seems like a little too little, but I'm not quite ambitious enough to do anything like 7 days a week or anything along those lines. So to start out, I'm thinking probably, twice a week. I'm thinking Tuesday, Thursday, give or take, is a pretty reasonable schedule. Gives me time to kind of, get topics planned out, prepared, videos recorded, mildly edited. As I said before yesterday, we want to keep it very, one cut, just like the old radio programs where they, kind of did a broadcast live, and what they got is what they got. So we want to carry that theme a little bit. We don't want it to be over rehearsed. So as a result, like large gaps in the audio and stuff like that will be removed. Stuff like that. Anything that just generally doesn't work and doesn't need to be in the video, we'll cut out like that. But for the most part, it's going to be pretty raw and just what happens happens. So a lot of it will be unscripted and just random, and I think it'll make for a better experience in general. So yeah, I figure that the twice a week should be adequate, at least for starting. Now we could change that as time goes. If there's enough demand for more videos sooner and more of them, we can definitely look at trying to increase that schedule. The reason I kind of figured that would be a good one is just because I'm like I said, it's more of a hobby for me. I come home from work and typically will play video games for about an hour, 2 hours. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes 3, 4, or 5 hours, depending on how rough of a day I had and how good the game is going. So it's not going to be too difficult for me to get in the background video time by all means. It's going to be more the conversational part. Do I have the mental energy after a long day, in particular, to be able to do up a video or not? So that being said, we'll play it by ear and kind of see how it goes. I think 2 days a week is more than adequate to start. As I did also mention yesterday or on the previous episode, is that I do have several friends, like I said, who as well have always debated doing a YouTube channel, never got into it. So who knows? This might be the motivation that they need to kind of get off their butts, and maybe instead of a channel, it'll turn into more of a, I guess, like a network on YouTube where maybe 2 days a week I post, 2 days a week they post, and gives you a lot more content in less time. That's hard to say. All depends on their schedules and stuff like that as well. So, like I said, for now, 2 days a week. That much we can almost kind of guarantee at this point, unless life gets in the way, which it frequently does have a habit of doing. So, so next is I guess we'll go on to the topic of what sort of hopes and dreams, I guess we'll call it, I have for the channel. Like I said, I don't plan on it ever getting big enough that I, can quit my job and be a YouTuber full time. Am I against the idea? By no means. But yeah, I'm just staying realistic. I think the days of the big YouTube channels or the big YouTube stars where a guy comes from nothing and instantly, is making millions of views per video, pretty much I think have kind of ended, especially in light of all the more recent issues with advertising and demonetization and all that stuff. I think it's something new is probably going to come along and take its place, and the grand days of YouTube, I don't think they're coming to an end, but I don't think they'll just be as grand as they once were. Just like in the software and internet, in the early days of the internet, where a guy could make $1 billion virtually overnight with just a website. Now everyone's grandma can form their own website about their knitting or baking. Doesn't mean it's going to make $1 billion. It's just the way the technology and the society has changed to reflect it. So So no, I'm keeping or not my aspirations, but at least my hopes for the channel relatively, realistic and a little toned down. Again, if it turns into something bigger, I'm not gonna say no to the concept by any means. It's just that I'm not gonna, quit my day job in the hopes that this channel is gonna become the next big thing. Heck, I'd even be happy to get mentioned by just one of the big YouTubers once in the entire time that I run this channel. The odds of it happening, probably not the greatest, but what can you do? So let's go on to more of the inspiration behind the channel. Like I already mentioned, the old-time radio shows and stuff like that were kind of a one-shot, one-take sort of deal. Definitely have been a big motivation to me. More of the talk radio type setup. As well, there are modern YouTube influences that will definitely show. Like, I love the concept and that some of the more modern YouTubers use, where the channel isn't just a one-sided dictation from the video creator. It's a conversation in general, between the audience and myself, and we like to discuss topics out and share opinions and see where things go, because I'm not going to admit that I know everything or that my opinion's always right. I'm always open to see other sides, and I fully expect there'll be more than one topic that I may have to retouch on from time to time and say, hey, you know what, I read this comment and it showed me a different side of things, and perhaps I was wrong. There will also be times where maybe I will stand, draw my line to stand and say, nope, this is it, this is my opinion, that's not going to change. Unless some amazing evidence comes to light. But I could be eating those words in as little as an episode, for all I know. Like I said, we'll just have to watch and see. So yeah, like I said, lots of various YouTube influences for sure that have helped me get to this point. I started really watching, actually, and that's part of why I chose Minecraft for this premiere episode, was because I started watching actually some of the Yogscast videos way back in the day. I saw this game called Minecraft. It looked really interesting. I started watching a few of their videos just to see, like, what is this game all about? And they were just very entertaining, not even so much in the gameplay itself, although that usually did help, but just in the general banter back and forth between the various cast members as they played, which, as time progressed, actually became more enticing than the actual gameplay itself. Which says a lot, considering even to this day they're still doing Minecraft play videos and, using older mod packs even, or vanilla Minecraft, if no mods at all. But people are still coming in and watching because they're watching for the characters that these YouTubers bring to the table, how they light up their various online personalities for the game, and it just makes it entertaining for all involved. So that was always a big motivation to me. I've always wished I could have done something like that. Unfortunately, like I said, my friends, while I lack motivation, they typically tend to lack motivation even more. So it was hard to get together and find a group of people that I could form something with, and that's why when I kind of stumbled on this idea late one night, I decided, you know what, let's go solo, because that way I'm not at the mercy of anyone else's schedule or anyone else's difference of opinion. It's purely me, and that way I've got no one to blame but myself for anything that works or doesn't work in this case. And I liked that idea, so that's why we decided to go this route. So in the future of the channel here, like I said, I definitely want to get a lot of audience participation. That's what's going to help this channel to thrive, whether it be suggestions for future topics, or even just debating topics I'm discussing here and now. It's definitely going to help steer not only what content is produced, but how much of it, and what future content gets produced as well, based on, if people want more political basis in the conversation, then I'll aim more politically, even though it's not necessarily one of my preferred topics. If people want more, talk about nonsense subjects or me just ranting about stuff that ticks me off, then by all means, there's a lot in this world that ticks me off. I can definitely find more than a little bit to fill up some airspace here for one. So, editing. I'm not going to look for people to edit my videos necessarily or anything along those lines. I want it to stay, like I said, very pure, very clean, very unscripted. With that being said, as you may have noticed, there was a little bit of a cut there just a moment ago. Reason being, literally, I just kind of hit a stumbling block in my brain and I didn't know what to say next. So when that happens, I just kind of quietly just keep playing for a few minutes while I kind of restructure things in my head and carry on from where I left off. So that may happen from time to time. Oh, that's a creeper. Oh, that's a great start. Anyways, so that might happen from time to time, but hopefully as time progresses, those will occur. I'm hoping less often. I could be wrong. As well, they may get more frequent as I decide I want more of a clear set structure to the channel. It'll be hard to tell this early on, really. Now, if anyone's had this thought cross their mind, I know I have, is every time I say or this channel would make a great drinking game if you're up late at night and have a bottle of alcohol with you. Because boy, every time I do that, just take a drink and see who can outlast the others. Definitely would be a good challenge, and well. The only problem with that is that I would just like to say in the advance here that, this channel accepts no responsibility for anyone's liver failure due to my inadequate speech patterns. Oh man, these guys are just not letting up today. So, it would help if I had better weapons than a little hoe, but, what can you do? So, do I ever want the channel to get big enough that I need a whole, editing team and research team and anything like that? Probably not. That's, one, it means that I'm responsible for a whole lot of people's livelihood at that point, and I don't know if I want that much responsibility put on my back, for sure. That, and again, I think it takes away from the simplicity of the channel that I aim for, where it's, like I said, I want the one-take sort of atmosphere to it, so whatever happens, happens. Any slip-ups I make, I got to backtrack and correct what I just said, sort of thing, without the ease of just being able to edit out and pretend it was never said. Basically, become Donald Trump. Now, again, I apologize. I tried not to stay political, but that joke just, that one was just way too easy. So I had to take that cheap shot. But, well, now let's talk about that. A little bit about myself again here. Where I'm from. Well, I made a Trump joke, but I'm not in the U.S. Sorry, I am their wonderful neighbor to the north. I'm Canadian through and through. So if you hear me say phrases like a boot, that's just a little bit of a Canadian accent coming through. In reality, though, I've even listened to myself or my friends around me, I've never really noticed any do that, but we're in central Alberta here, so, it might make a little bit of a difference. Maybe, certain of those accents and traits don't quite carry over here. Now, I've known some more eastern Canadians that do carry that on and have actually several different little phrases that are quite unique to the region. Luckily here, not quite as much. I guess you could say we're a lot more Americanized as a whole. Whatever the pro or con of that is. But, well, and these spiders are just never ending today. Alright, so not a lot more to say, really. That's, I think, the basic outline of the channel, what the goal is, what the plan is, and where we want to, start out, where we want to be, where we want to keep things, where we want to change, as well as the involvement that we want from you, the viewer. Oh, these spiders are just killing me today. So, with that, I think we'll call her a day from here. Again, if you like at least the theory of this channel and want to hear more, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned, and we'll see where this takes us on our little adventure into YouTube videos. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you again soon.